varieties Starbucks coffee, $8.99. 14-ounce or 6-count selected varieties Häagen-Dazs ice cream, $3.99. 4 to 4.5-ounce selected varieties Sargento Balance Breaks, 2 for $6. 64-ounce selected varieties Sunny Delight, 2 for $3.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers. Safe.
Okay. Ooh, pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
What is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
All right. Tune in to KDN every day at 2 o'clock. Kyle Bruston North, 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The bag is packed with the sticks. The drinks are cold. And the scorecards ready to go. Time to hit the links.
This is what's relatable about Victor Hovland. You want to know his season? T36, T22. Cut, win.
It's time to go on the tee.
We're golfers, man. We're weird.
Sponsored by Majestic Oaks at Lake Lawn Resort.
Yeah, I don't care too much about other things outside of golf.
And Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Another Ryder Cup year? Although I'm terrified because all the Europeans are playing well.
Alongside PGA Tour Live, Stephen Watson. Here's Gabe Neitzel.
Ready to play the Masters next week. Can't wait. I mean, I guess technically a European didn't win this week on the PGA Tour.
All right, things are looking up.
So we got that going for us.
Gabe, I gotta start right out of the gates.
Okay,
with something.
Okay. And then he quote tweeted.
I'm not mad at you
of the Atlanta Drive, winning the TGL.
but I am certainly disappointed in you.
Never tweets. Never tweets.
Tiger.
And
you got.
I did get got
so badly.
I did, but okay. All right.
Happy April Fools, everyone.
Because
Gabe, would you like to let everybody in on how you got this morning?
Okay, so in the middle of doing Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, it ended up being perfect timing. Because we're coming to the end of the segment, and I always have my computer up, so I look down, and I happen to see a Tiger Woods tweet saying, quote, I can't believe I'm saying this, but a few weeks after rupturing my left Achilles, with sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber plus explosive list, my doctors and trainers have me ready to play the Masters next week. Can't wait. See y'all on the course.
Text from you.
The only other time he actually has tweeted.
Is there a better sentence to hear than that?
Was about his Achilles, and that's why about his new girlfriend, and then he quote tweeted and retweeted some of the Atlanta Drive, winning the TGL last week. I mean, so Tiger never tweets, never tweets. Joke, but and perfect timing. Honestly, partially this is Bernard Longer's fault. Because if you remember last year, Bernard Longer tore his Achilles.
Charlie.
And then played and won on the Champions Tour 3 months later.
3 months? Gabe, it's been 3 weeks since Tiger tore his Achilles.
Look, I don't know, man. Modern science.
You think he's on that Aaron Rodgers stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. Modern science.
I don't know. Goodness.
Turns out it was an April Fool's joke, and I got excited that Tiger was playing the Masters.
Oh,
very strange.
Goodness. I mean, for a second, you got me to look it up because I got the all caps red alert text from you.
Well, because again, it was
Tiger's playing Augusta.
Yeah.
Is there a better sentence to hear than that?
There's not. And that's why Tiger. That's why April Fool's.
And then I checked, and I went,
he tweeted about his ruptured Achilles. I mean, Tiger did tweet pretty quickly after that it was an April Fool's joke, but it was perfect timing. I saw it. I got excited.
So here's the better part of this. So, for the sake of this conversation, Tiger. If it was his new boo tweeting this morning, Charlie,
I don't know because again, if you look back at the history of his Twitter,
the point of his career,
usually it's all the whole announcing of his new girlfriend was just incredibly strangely worded, and
strangely messaged, strange pictures,
everything was just very strange. A lot of people had a lot of questions about who took the picture of them snuggling on a hammock. Who's taking this picture? Who worded this tweet?
They definitely had to edit out of Tiger's reflective sunglasses in that picture. Who was taking the picture?
Because people were trying to
this
dig
was
into
next
that.
level editing.
Again, He tweeted about his ruptured Achilles.
But I was disappointed.
Again, about 3 weeks ago.
I'm disappointed in myself.
And then just about anything after that is just all.
You think I'm proud of this?
Him tweeting about Sunday Red.
So April Fool's Day.
For the sake of this conversation,
I'm not proud of that.
If it was Tiger tweeting this morning, have we really gotten to the point?
The PGA Tour last year seemed pretty boring.
Yeah.
Even these non-signature events. Like we talked a lot last week. I mean, you had JT and Victor Hovland battling down to the end. A couple of guys who hadn't won for JT's case since 2022. In Hovland's case since 2023. Minwoo Lee trying to hold off Gary Woodland, Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Rory McIlroy, bunch of major winners down the stretch and nearly, puking all over his own shoes down the stretch at the Houston Open. What were you doing for Minwoo Lee's last three? Because you had on PGA Tour Live, you had the Texas Children's Houston Open. What were you doing for those last 3 holes?
So the way it works is we can't cover any of the final 5 groups of the weekend on PGA Tour Live because that's exclusive for Golf Channel, NBC, CBS, whoever is the rights holder for that week. So I was on featured holes on Sunday. The time that Minwoo Lee and his final group made their way through 15 was the hole that I was on. So the way it works is our featured holes were 15 and 17 on the back 9.
Okay.
So we could cover that because that's part of the agreement. So I got to cover him through 15 and 17.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get to 18, I just sat in, master control, just kind of watched it all unfold. And I'll tell you what. Everybody's going to talk about the lag putt that he had on 18 to set himself up and the celebration, and we can get into that in a moment. But if you were really watching Minwoo Lee's round closely, his 5 that he made on number 8, which is his errant drive out that was underneath the tree that a lot of people were upset about how long he took.
A lot of people. Alejandro Tosti was the most upset.
But the fact that he made a 5, which was a par 5 8th, on that hole is what won him this tournament because things could have unraveled really quickly because Scotty Scheffler went off on the back. And all of a sudden, if you don't have that 3-4 shot cushion on the back like Minwoo did, it's looking like a playoff. And if he was going to a playoff, he was not going to beat Scotty or Gary Woodland, who were both unconscious on the back 9.
And like Gary Woodland was just like this heartfelt story again, especially if you watched any of Full Swing, and getting more details. Because I think if you follow golf, you are familiar with some of the health struggles he's had and the brain surgery that he needed. But to get the details of like the lesion that was on his brain that's controlling like the anxiety and the nerves and all those different things that he had to deal with, that obviously you have to try to control to be a professional golfer in order to win tournaments like the 2019 U.S. Open and to go through that and brain surgery. To see him play that well and be in contention that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, about Woodland real quick, it was fascinating to see what he had to overcome physically, mentally, emotionally. The thing that stood out to me is he wrote goodbye letters to his kids. Like, could you imagine the weight that must carry for somebody, not knowing what was going to happen after that surgery?
Yeah, because
and the fact that he led us into that was extremely powerful stuff. And there was a moment, I don't know if the Golf Channel picked it up, but when I was sitting and kind of watching all of our monitors down at PGA Tour Live, he was walking hand in hand with all of his kids off that green on 18 after he makes the birdie to get to 19 under. And like, holy cow, like chills just go up and down your body of the letters that he once wrote to them months ago, or a little over a year ago now, to like sharing that moment with them, even though he didn't win the tournament. That was his best finish since the surgery. And you just couldn't help but be so happy for one of the most likable guys amongst fans, but definitely amongst tour players as well.
Well, but I think of the way the other guys came through there, right? Like Scotty, who had he was clean out of the fairway. He comes up short. Minwoo obviously airmails the green, has to get up and down. But for Gary to stuff that with where that pin was.
With an unbelievable club twirl, too. Like, he spun that club into existence.
That was so good.
Yeah.
And again, it just gives you something to root for. Like, I feel like the PGA Tour is more alive this year than last year. Maybe it's because collectively they have their bleep together. I don't know. Maybe it's just they're fortunate that these tournaments have come down to the final hole.
Yeah.
And they've been more exciting because, and you mentioned the 5 he made on 8. I'll actually say the 6 he made on 16.
Yeah.
Because things can get away from you so quickly when you blow one right, don't cover anything, and you hit it into the water, right? Like he just hit it so far right, like the one place he can't go because that's where the water is, and then to make a birdie on the second ball for a bogey on the scorecard.
Yep.
Like that could have, I mean, even if you just make a par, right? Now all of a sudden it's a double bogey, and now he's in that playoff with Woodland and Sheffield.
Yeah, and Minwoo Lee talked about it after to Kira K. Dixon of the Golf Channel just about how he's never been in that position. This was the first time he held a 54-hole lead in his PGA Tour career. So the amount of anxiety and stress he felt down the stretch, that's what was enlightening to hear for these guys. Like, they are not robots. And that's what makes guys like Scheffler, who's gone out there and closed as many times as he have, and some of these other greats who have been so good. Tiger, we talked about him earlier. Like that just shows how dialed in they are at getting it done. Because, man, if anyone who's listening and loves golf has ever played competitive golf and knows the feeling of standing over a putt knowing you have to make it, like, that's not easy. And he had to do that for an entire back nine, understanding that every single hole guys were gaining on him. Mm-hmm. Like, how does that not just rip you apart mentally? And credit to Minwoo Lee. I mean, that lag putt, the celebration, all of it, I was so happy for him. And to your point, Gabe, about just the state of the tour right now, the stars are playing well,
mm-hmm.
but the up-and-comers are winning. The Victor Hovland, the Minwoo Lee, you know, these guys who you're like, all right, the next wave is kind of here. And I feel refreshed that Scotty hasn't won this year, but he's been there and he's been in the hunt. And of course, I love that Rory's won twice.
Yes.
But I think that's what ultimately we want to see, is we want to see the big names on the top of the leaderboard come Sunday. And it felt like we didn't have that a whole lot in last year's PGA Tour season, because it was either Scotty
mm-hmm.
or somebody's first PGA Tour win who it just happened to be an off week where a lot of the stars didn't play. It was almost such a focus on the signature events, and now it's like, no, everybody's starting to play more events. And that was what was fun about the Houston Open this weekend, is Rory making his Memorial Park debut, Scotty being back home, and, you know, of course, finishing off with the Woodland story and Minwoo winning. It made for some really fun drama on a great golf course. Man, Memorial Park is awesome. As a Muni, too, Gabe. Like,
it's only like $60 to play.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, like $60.
And, you know, the only other course I can think of on the PGA Tour that's like that is Torrey Pines, where locals can play for under $100. But,
oh, yeah. If you're not, you are subsidizing. And I am one who has subsidized. But when I played out there, and this would have been, man, almost 8 years ago. I think it was 2017 when I played out there. I played with a senior who was walking for like $45.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
And that's pretty special when you have golf courses that can turn it up. And, you know, they get 60,000 people playing that golf course a year, and then they can get it dialed in for the best in the game. And it was a great weekend. And I really am excited about what this could do for Minwoo Lee, because that was always the elephant in the room, was he couldn't close. And I think that this is a guy who has the skill set to win a major. I really do.
That's where you lose me.
Okay.
And I am a big Minwoo fan, because, you know, hitting the ball far but not necessarily knowing where it's going, I can relate. I can relate. But that's the problem with him, is when the test becomes harder and you have to be more precise at a U.S. Open, at an Augusta National. You know, when you have to control your ball in the winds of a British Open, I got questions, because Minwoo Lee made more birdies this week than he hit fairways. And that's just that type of golf can play on the PGA Tour, and he can win now multiple times on the PGA Tour. I think he can do that. It's not going to play in the majors.
Well, I will tell you that the Houston Open, Memorial Park in particular, had the fourth lowest driving accuracy among PGA Tour golf courses coming into the event, because you can miss it everywhere.
Yes.
The whole design of that golf course is blow it 350 yards.
Yeah, it's a Muni.
They only let the rough get up to an inch and a quarter, so you're never in trouble unless you find the water on the closing stretch. So The stat of not hitting fairways really didn't bother me at all for Minwoo. It was a course fit for him for sure. I don't know if he can go out and win a U.S. Open.
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
Correct.
But I do think that the right fit on a PGA Championship course, I don't think he's going to win the Masters, but everybody thinks that Memorial Park lines up as close to Augusta as anything.
I think that's because a lot of the short game shots, like where Scotty was when he missed short on 18.
Where you have to miss in the right spots on those greens. They're all quadranted out, and they love false fronts out Memorial Park, same as Augusta. That's definitely
you can't just blow it anywhere you want off the tee. Certainly in some places at Augusta, you can do that, but you can't just kind of blow it wherever you want. A lot of play, like I think of 17.
He finds the right. I don't think
7, you can't, 7, you just think of these tight corridors at Augusta National where you got to keep the ball on the plan.
So, I don't know if Minwoo is winning a major this year, but I just think the right course fit. I don't think Quail Hollow is the right fit for him, plus it's Rory.
It's maybe top 5s, top 10s, so he's not going to win.
But
just pencil that in.
I'm excited to see somebody who was likable on TGL. Of course, he gets a lot of publicity because of his social media. And kind of what Butch Harmon once said about Ricky Fowler, saying, "Are you a Kardashian or are you a professional golfer?" Like, that was kind of the knock on Minwoo is, are you a Instagram celebrity or are you a professional golfer? And he proved this weekend he can hold off Scotty Scheffler and company and go out there and win. Don't forget that he fired a 63 playing with Scotty Scheffler on Saturday.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Minwoo went toe-to-toe with these guys this weekend.
Again, they almost chased him down. I mean, he shot 67. He was 3 under par. Right? But he almost got chased down because Gary Woodland shot a 62 and Scotty Scheffler shot a 63.
Which is wild. The course record was 62. Scotty matched it on Friday, and then Valimaki and Woodland matched it on Sunday. Mm-hmm. These guys are so good. If I would have told you, Gabe, that Scotty Scheffler shot a 62 and a 63 and didn't win the tournament, crazy, right?
Again, he was intimidated by Minwoo. Shot 69 on Saturday.
Yeah. Scotty just had a terrible Saturday. Yeah. And if he was within a shot of Minwoo, he was not losing that golf tournament. At the start of Sunday, but he was 5 shots back.
So that makes me think. Just quickly, can you answer this question? When are you the most nervous on the golf course? Because obviously Minwoo was nervous coming down the stretch.
Yeah.
Had a couple of loose shots, but he was able to close it out and overcome those nerves. On the golf course, when are you most nervous?
I would say a putt at about 4 feet. I know you think that that's crazy because you think I'm some
No, you're a machine.
But I'm not. Maybe you only remember the misses. I don't know, but
No, you only remember the misses. I'm just telling you to rake it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. 4-footer. Maybe I have a good poker face, but like a good 4-foot breaker.
Yeah.
Like a tiny bit of break where you really have to think about it. Actually, you know what? A straight putt from 4 feet is harder than a little break.
I just hit it firm, right in the middle.
You do. Sounds great.
I don't understand.
No, those are the ones that make me think a lot more than maybe I lead on.
Yeah, I think so.
How about you?
The first tee of any real event.
Yeah.
So and probably
gives
not
you
as much
PTSD from high school golf.
Yeah, but you're playing. Not that you don't play real golf with your buddies, but if you're playing a qualifier, or I was in Vegas playing a WPGA event, you got to hole out everything. There's no that's good, right? So there's just some nerves where you're playing 100% by the rules. You're not scooping putts. You're not. If you're taking a drop of relief from a drain or the cart path or whatever, you're making sure, okay, you have to do everything by the book. So just on that first tee, knowing that, okay, this is once I hit that first tee shot, it all kind of goes away. You figure it out. But that first tee shot, you're still it gets a little nervy anytime you're playing an official event.
Yeah, I get that for sure. I get that.
After that, then you're just playing golf. But Stephen apparently has a Ryder Cup pairing that he has been thinking about.
Yeah.
Which is again interesting to me because Minwoo Lee was the guy who won. He can't play the Ryder Cup. He's not European. He's Australian. So I'm wildly curious to know what this from Stephen is. What the Ryder Cup pairing he has been thinking about. We dive into that coming up next on the tee. On the tee, Gabe Nantz, Stephen Watson hanging out, coming off of Stephen's appearance on PGA Tour Live for the Texas Children's Houston Open. But apparently, I don't know. I don't know if there was something that you saw on the monitors down there at the PGA Tour Live headquarters in the Jacksonville area. You let me know that you have a Ryder Cup pairing that you've been thinking about.
Yeah.
And you're excited to run by me. While
Min Woo was cooking on the golf course, I was just kind of thinking to myself, I'm actually terrified, just like you, for September. And I kind of want to throw something at you that's going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
Because outside of like the top 3 names, like it's wide open for me right now. Maybe top 4. It was nice to see Wyndham Clark play well at Houston, by the way. He needed that.
Oh, and because
Wyndham still doesn't have a top 10 this year, but he still at least was trending in the right direction.
Well, no, he's got a top 10 now. He's top 5 there.
Was he top 5?
Yeah, he's T5.
Okay. Oh, there
Finished
you go.
T5.
First
so
top
it's
10.
His first top 10 of the year.
Love
but
that.
I mean, a player like him, like at a big ballpark, although if you start diving into, like, for years and years and years at the Ryder Cup, it has felt like, oh, U.S. just has this distance advantage, and, you know, the Europeans are just precise, right? So if you set up a course like Whistling Straits and just bomb it out there, Team USA. European teams got some bombers, man.
Yeah, I know.
Rory.
I don't know. Need to remind me.
Got John Rahm. They got guys that can move it and get it out there. We're
still
like,
not convinced John Rahm is going to be as good come September.
Like JJ Spawn is number 6 right now.
Yeah.
On the U.S. team rankings.
He's an auto in right now. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
All right. So let me throw this at you.
Okay.
And I feel this for 2 reasons. 1, because it's a home game.
Okay.
And 2, because of recency bias. I am all in on Billy Horschel right now.
Okay. You know, I don't think you have to talk me into this as much as you think.
I was dipping my toes a little bit before the finish of TGL, but I am now 2 feet in the water feeling great. And now the second part of this is going to be controversial, I think, to you. But we need passion.
Yeah.
We need energy.
Yeah.
And I still believe that he's going to find his way onto the roster. I think it's time to see Billy Horschel and Keegan Bradley team up together at Bethpage.
No, all the way out. All the way out. Okay, I couldn't be more out.
We need a little spark.
Yeah, but
And I don't know if we're getting it from the Spieth-JT combo. Maybe from half of that with JT.
Yeah, I mean, Spieth has such a long way to go to even be...
Max is lost right now.
Correct.
Scotty, good golfer, not great in competitive team play match, by the way. Like, was terrible in the President's Cup and the last Ryder Cup. Morikawa, you know.
Well, he's not going to be like your emotional leader. Xander's pretty quiet guy.
Yeah.
You assume that Xander's going to play with Cantlay.
You're putting a lot of eggs in is Bryson going to make it about Bryson, or is he actually going to be a good teammate? Like, that's all.
Yeah, Bryson's not the emotional leader of this team, but again, Keegan, I am all the way behind Keegan as the captain of the team.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily like how they arrived, but they ended up with the right answer. If they had to show their work, I don't know if they passed, but they arrived at the right answer. I think of Keegan Bradley as team captain. I don't want to mess around. This isn't the President's Cup when Tiger went down to Australia and he was a playing captain. Like, I don't want to mess around with this because the Europeans are terrifying. You saw how important of a job this is, and what it did. The stress that Stricker put on himself.
Yeah, but
when he won,
that's
here,
because of us, and I think because of Stricker and the Wisconsin ties, and like.
But it's a stress. I think it's a more complicated job than just showing up, right?
Of course.
Like, I think you need that guy to be the leader, and I don't want him to be. Look, if he qualifies on points, then he qualifies on points. But also, I think that he should hand off his captaincy duties then. Like, I don't want a playing captain in 2025.
What if Keegan wins a major?
Well, again, if he wins a major, then he's on the team.
What if he? All right,
because
wins
basically the way it's set up right now,
course.
if you win a major, like the points double and the majors are worth so much money now that you're basically
Keegan's
like,
not winning a major. What am I talking about?
Yeah,
but he might win a tour event.
Yeah, he could very well win a tour event.
I don't know. I was just
I think he can be that leader. You can still get that energy from Billy Horschel. Like Billy's gonna. So the cool thing about Billy, I think, from TGL,
he can play with anybody.
He can play with anybody. And we talked about this a little bit last week. Billy's going to care so damn much that it's going to rub off on everybody.
But nobody's going to care more than Keegan. That's my point.
But which is great as the captain. Because the terrifying thing is, I don't know who he would hand off the duties to. And I don't know if I trust that person.
He just play once.
Just play the singles?
Yeah. Let's get Keegan and Billy right out of the gates. First group off the tee. Fly that American flag, and then Keegan just playing singles, unless it goes really well.
I want to see Keegan driving around, earpiece in. I think that's going to be a perfect spot for him. Okay. I don't. Again, if he earns his way,
I can't wait until he auto qualifies.
Yeah, because he's on the record. He said he's not going to pick himself.
Yeah,
so he would have to finish in the top 6.
In my fairy tale of this pairing, it was Keegan makes the team. Let's pair these two together.
Yeah, I mean, again.
But I think I'm with you that I don't know if you put yourself on the team just to play with Billy Horschel.
I
just think they'd be so fun together, like a more genuine Tom Kim, Siwoo Kim from the President's Cup.
Have you looked at the top 12 right now for Team USA?
No, I'm actually terrified. I will not do it.
You don't want me to read it off?
No, not at all. Not in the least bit.
So Scotty Scheffler's 1.
Get me through the U.S. Open, please.
Xander is 2.
Cool.
Colin Morikawa's 3.
Awesome. Let's stop there. That's a good start.
Russell Henley's 4, which I actually don't have a problem with. Like, Russell Henley's good enough to be on this team.
Perfect example of, I forgot he even existed.
He just won he won a signature event.
He won Bay Hill
a month ago.
But I forgot. But
he's a good player. Like
he deserves to be on the team.
Yes, have no issue with him being on the team.
But when I look at Europe, I'm like, these guys are so cool.
Bryson
They're all so fun.
Bryson is 5.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm in on Bryson for this year, but I got to see how he does at Augusta. Go ahead.
JJ Spawn 6.
Yeah, I mean, that's terrifying.
Matt McNeely is 7.
You know, I like his game. I just don't know if he's good enough yet. Go.
JT is 8.
He's on.
Cantlay is 9.
He has to be on.
Lucas Glover is 10.
Just no.
Billy Horschel is 11.
All in.
And then Tony Finau is 12. Wyndham Clark, with his top 5 finishes, now right behind him at 13th.
Yeah, I mean, I think Big Tone has earned a spot as just kind of being a glue guy who has played in a couple of Ryder Cups. And
you could probably pair him with just about anybody.
Yeah. I mean, him and Horschel together would be fun.
Yeah.
Wyndham is probably the most fascinating case right now because he needs to really prove that he can turn his season around consistently.
Yeah, I mean, he's knocking on the door. And as we sit here, I guess I would be surprised if he's off the team.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to get too emotional as we sit here on April 1st.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want to trend into September looking good. But right now I'm out on Wyndham. I don't think he did enough to earn the you deserve to be on Team USA again from the last Ryder Cup. But he goes out there and has a couple of top 10s in majors this year. Doesn't bother me to throw him on that team.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
But we didn't mention Max. We like Spieth.
Because they're lost in the wilderness.
Which is crazy because without Max, the USA probably gets it swept.
There's a lot of time left. And if Max finds form, even with 6 weeks before the final selections, I think that he could be like somewhere in the 20s.
But like, why can't Max do what Hovland just did? Winning Valspar on the heels of 3 consecutive missed cuts. Like that's the type of game that Max has.
Because he's more lost, I think.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to say.
I think he's more lost than Victor.
He's just probably not going to be as public about his being lost.
Yeah.
And Max is a pretty public, open guy. Yeah, I would love to see Max figure it out and be on that team.
Oh, I don't think you're alone.
Maybe
there.
He needs Billy.
Again,
they'd be a fiery.
That would be a fiery group, and that would get in the that get into the side of whoever they're playing on the European side.
We're gonna have to save all these recordings of us aimlessly talking about this Ryder Cup roster.
This Ryder Cup team just being completely lost.
By the time we get to September, we're gonna have like 30 choices.
Oh yeah, I can't wait till we get to the Ryder Cup, but I also can't wait till we get to the Masters.
Woo-hoo!
The Masters is coming up. By the way, we'll tell you coming up about a special Masters episode next week. Plus, we found out a little bit about the voice of Augusta National and when he plans on hanging it up. We'll get to that coming up next year on the tee. But I do want to tell you about our friends at Erin Hills. They are hosting the 80th playing of the U.S. Women's Open coming up. It's going to be here before you know it, man. Like the end of May.
Here.
Yeah, like it is closely coming in. So check out uswomensopen.com to get your tickets so you can go out, check out the U.S. Women's Open. And if you want to find out more about playing Erin Hills, which we talk about quite a bit on the show because we absolutely love it, Just go to aaronhills.com.
Try to get one of those tee times right after. That course is going to be so pure. Nobody's playing it until the best in the world play it.
It's at the end of May. It's going to be
I love that place.
So cool. Can't wait to see the women play it. aaronhills.com. On the tee, as we're getting closer and closer to the Masters, Augusta National, favorite major of the year, and it's always a great way to kick off the spring season. But we got a little bit of news last week, Stephen, when it came to Augusta National, the voice that we've seen and heard for years and years and years, Jim Nantz, who's broadcasting his 40th Masters, by the way, coming up.
It's amazing.
He's 65 years old. He told a Scottish golf magazine, Bunkered, that he'd like to continue broadcasting through the 100th Masters, which would be in 2036. Do you think Nantz is going to be able to make it? Again, he's 65 years old. Do you think that he is going to be able to make it to 76 and still be the voice of the Masters 11 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, if his health allows it, for sure. I mean, think about how long Vern was up there.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. I mean, I hope he does. I mean,
Nantz, he even had the specific day. A lot of things have to happen for that to occur, Nantz said in the article. First off, my health would have to hold up. Secondly, CBS and Augusta National would have to want me to come back. Jim, at this point, I can't imagine what you could do to have them not want you to come back, but I digress. But if all the stars aligned right now, it feels like a pretty good exit point. April 14th, 2036, that's my scheduled retirement date. It would be the perfect place to walk out. Yeah, I couldn't agree with him more. If you could make it to the 100th Masters, and for him, that means he would be broadcasting over half of them.
Yeah, that's an incredible
because that would be
achievement.
his 51st Masters. Yeah, I think that'd be a great way to kind of walk it off.
How about the flex just to be able to be like, 10 years from now is when I'm going to be done. You know, like.
Well, when you've done 40 of them.
Yeah.
Again, I can't imagine. It'd be like when Vin Scully, well, hopefully the Dodgers will have me back, or Uke here. Well, hopefully the Brewers, I think they'll have you back next year.
Yeah, I think I had heard that the Masters and CBS don't even have like a TV contract.
They don't. They do it year by year.
Yeah, they just have like a shake of the hand. Like,
yeah,
we'll have you back. I think it's the same case with Jim. Like, Jim, you're our guy.
Yeah. Again, the only announcer that I'm aware of, them saying they couldn't do it, because, again, Augusta controls all of that, and even though it's CBS and CBS has their people, why am I blanking on his name? He's no longer doing, but him and Faraday always used to have the back and forths on CBS. No, gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Funny guy. He was also in Tin Cup. He was a walking course announcer. God, why am I blanking on his name now? Usually had the curly Q mustache. Hasn't been on it for a while, but he was banned, and he couldn't, even though he was a part of CBS's announcing crew for years. But he had mentioned like how the greens were like if they were bikini waxed, and at the time he said that, everybody was up in arms at Augusta, so he was no longer allowed to announce at Augusta National.
Interesting. Do you know Jim Nantz coined the phrase "a tradition unlike any other"?
That is not that shocking. Gary McCord is the name I was thinking of. Gary McCord.
Yeah, Jim. 1986 is when he coined that phrase. A tradition unlike any other.
He's been doing the Masters longer than I've been alive.
Yeah. It's a wild thing to say out loud. I mean, it truly is like Bob Uecker, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like you just associate the two together.
Yeah. Again, in my lifetime, I've known nobody else. And obviously there have been people, like you mentioned, Uncle Vern in the 16th hole, and that's a part of those Masters memories as well. But, I mean, the anchor of it is Nantz.
The first toss to Vern is always like one of my low-key favorite moments.
Well, we don't have that anymore.
I know, but just the over to Vern on 16. He's the best.
Who do you think is more prepared? Because you sat here last week telling me Rory was one of the Masters.
Yeah.
And then Scottie Scheffler looked like Scottie Scheffler this weekend.
Well, first, I will preface it with this. We're going to have a special 2-hour live broadcast.
Ooh, baby!
Next week.
Noon
from
to 2.
Noon to 2. And we're going to dive in deep to the top 2 players in the world because truly, Gabe, it's those 2 versus the field in my mind.
I don't know whose idea it was to let us do 2 hours on the Masters, but
why isn't it 4?
Yeah. That's probably the better question. We should be cutting into KBN next Tuesday. Instead of noon to 2, we should be noon to 4.
I'm sure Brust would love to find some Masters-related things to chime in with.
But I still lean towards, if I'm picking between those 2, I lean towards Scotty.
Yeah.
Because, and especially now, and I really don't think it's that big of a deal, but Rory kind of mentioning how his elbow was bothering him and he needed a little bit of treatment, but he's taking this week off. He'll get the treatment. Like, oh, by the way, his elbow was bothering him, and he just went 65-64 on the weekend. So
yeah.
I think even if it was bothering him going into Augusta, I think he'd find a way to play through it because he did at the Texas Children's Houston Open.
I'll tell you what, after Thursday, my take of Rory winning Augusta felt really cold. Really cold. Goes out there, fires an even 70 in a tournament that he should be contending in.
Well, it turns out he did contend in the end.
He did. And Scotty's finding form. He hasn't won yet, so he'll go into Augusta with 0 wins this season, but his putting. On Friday, he gained 6 strokes on the field with his putting. If Scotty's got the flat stick going like that, it's hard to not feel pretty good about him winning a 3rd green jacket. I'm sticking to my guy, though.
You're sticking to Rory?
Yeah.
I'm right now, I'd probably pick Scotty, but I don't know. I got a feeling it's not going to be Scotty again, and I don't think it's going to be Rory. I think Rory wins a major this year. We've already penciled him in for Quail Hollow and the second major at the PGA this year, but I don't know. I mean, Oberg is still out there, kind of lingering, and he played really well last year until the 11th, which was incredible because it was his first time ever playing the Masters, and he's only going to get better with more experience.
But Ludwig feels like a guy who could top 5 at Augusta without ever winning.
Yeah, but he could also win like 3 green jackets.
Yeah, truly.
He's
talking about just an absurd amount of talent.
Could go either way.
Yeah. I still think, all right, right now.
Yep.
Scotty and Rory or the field? What are you taking?
I'll take the field.
I'm going to take Scotty.
Yeah,
Rory.
I know you are. I know exactly. Those are the guys that you are leaning towards.
Speaking it into existence, my friend.
I've got an individual question I want to ask Stephen Watson. We're going to do that coming up next, but I do want to tell you about our friends in Delavan, Wisconsin, and Majestic Oaks. Tee off on a course with over 2 miles of lakefront. That's right, 2 miles of lakefront where wide fairways and challenging greens await. This lakeside 18-hole course offers golfing experience like no other. You can join them for the best family golf nights in the state where everyone can enjoy the game together and enjoy golf, cart, drinks, and snacks for under $25 per person. That's right, under $25 per person. They also have several membership options so you can find the perfect fit for your lifestyle. If you're ready to play, book your tee time today. LakeLawnResort.com. That's LakeLawnResort.com and check out Majestic Oaks Golf Course. I want to know about our guy, Stephen Watson. Not necessarily what's in the bag, but some of the accessories that go with the bag when it comes to the game of golf. Before we do that, I do want to tell you about our friends at up at the Bog, golfthebog.com. Check them out. Stephen and I are going to be playing 100 holes out there before you know it. Stay tuned. We're going to be raising some money for that. We'll get you all those details coming up, and they're so generous donating the golf course for the Ringer event for the MAC Fund. But you can go check it out. It's a great piece of property right on the Bog up there in Saukville. Golfthebog.com to book your tee time today. Stephen, how do you decide what your head covers are going to be?
So I have one steady head cover, and that's my dog, Wilson.
Yep.
It was a gift from my wife. It looks exactly like him. Cuddleclones.com if you're interested.
Well, so apparently my wife almost got me one of our dogs for Christmas.
Bubba?
Almost. She almost did, apparently. She thought about it.
You're a
and
lefty,
she ultimately
and you have a
did
chance
not.
to have Bubba on the bag. That would feel right.
I'm guessing it still is a possibility, but I got a from one of my sisters for Christmas. I got a golf towel with my dog's face all over it.
Love it.
And my wife goes, "Oh, I almost got you a Bubba themed Christmas gift too." I go, "Oh, Bubba head cover. How did you know? Well, Steven's got one of his dog on his bag. So that's still a possibility for the driver.
Right. I always like the little personal touch of the dog.
Oh, yeah.
On there. I noticed that on Steven Yeager's golf bag this weekend at Houston. He's got a golden retriever, and his head cover looks exactly like Wilson. And then I rotate my 3-wood between, got to show love to the Wisconsin courses. I have a Aaron Hills head cover from our friends over there, of a caddy bib that was turned into a 3-wood head cover. I also have one from Sedge Valley, that a leather one that's cool, and I just love that Fox logo so much from Sedge Valley. So I rotate between the two of them. I have a 3-wood. I got rid of my hybrid, so that used to be a head cover. I now have the driving 2-iron. And then I upgraded my putter head cover while we were overseas in Scotland.
Oh,
so
you did.
I have the old course sitting on my flat stick right now.
So I'm in the market. I'm trying to decide what I want to do with my 3-wood, because much like you, so I've had a different head cover my wife made for me a few years ago for Christmas that has the Milwaukee flag on it. So that's the driver head cover.
Like
has been for years, because I love that flag, and she had that custom made for me. And because I also want to represent Aaron Hills, our friends at Aaron Hills send us different head covers the last couple of years, and I've kind of rotated through those. But this year they sent us from Aaron Hills, they sent us alignment sticks that came with a pretty cool cover.
Amazing.
I'm going to keep that in the bag, so I'm representing Aaron Hills there.
Like that.
So I feel that opens up my 3-wood as a free agent. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my 3-wood head cover. Are you taking bidders? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. And then my putter head cover, I found a cool one, an Odyssey baseball cover, which I thought was really cool with the mallet that I have. So that's staying there. So I got to figure out what I want to do for my 3-wood head cover.
By the way, I got to give Whistling Straight some love too. Keeping the triangle that used to be. I used to have a Ryder Cup one, but
I was about to say we used to have the Ryder Cup was your putter cover, right?
Yeah. But I went to the old course because the magnet on the inside broke, and then it's a nightmare. So.
Part of the reason why I also went to a magnet head cover on the on my putter as well with the baseball. So So that I'm excited. I just don't know how to decide. Do I go with my home course? Do I see? I mean, Brown Deer for years used to make GMO stuff.
Yeah,
and I used to have a GMO putter cover.
Do they have the Hello World in a 3-wood?
I don't. So that's what they might
that
not.
Be cool.
They've had it in the past. That used to always be my putter covers, and I've had a couple of different ones, but the one for the mallet I had was Velcro, and the Velcro was.
Why don't you talk to your boy Tiger, see if you can get you a little Sunday Red head cover?
I mean, I could probably go on the website. I don't know if I want to pay whatever he's charging for a Sunday Red head cover.
He's got plenty of time right now in his hands.
So that's I'm trying to decide what I want to go with for the 3-wood head cover. And had I
Maybe I get you a cuddle clone with my head for your 3-wood.
Stephen.
Just me and my glasses staring up at you Take me instead of driver right now. You're ripping the driver too far. You got the duck hook going.
You gotta bring it. Yeah, you gotta just
play me, Gabe. Play me. You'd have the yips every time you drive that.
I mean, just looking over, having Steven's head sticking out of my bag. I don't know if that would be funny or disturbing. Just your head, it'd be like your head on a stick, just sticking out of my bag.
I think it would start with a laugh, and then it'd probably get creepy pretty fast.
Yeah. But it might creep out my opponent too, so that could also be an advantage. As long as I get used to it. So I was just curious.
If we were playing a partner event together, and you imagine me playing alongside of you, and we playing against somebody, and you go to grab your 3-wood, and it's just me.
Yeah, it's my partner's head covered. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal.
We're real close.
So I was just curious how you decided, because I feel like I haven't had this opportunity, to have the 3-wood be a free agent here for quite some time.
Man, yeah, I mean, I hope anybody listening's got some.
I was thinking,
throw them over to Gabe Neitzel.
Yeah, just at GNeitzel16. If you want to hit me up on Twitter with some good ideas. I was thinking, because I love the original course at Black Wolf so much, maybe I just get a Black Wolf run head cover.
Got to keep it in the state here, Yeah, I'll give you Scotland, because that was a special trip for both of us.
But so when I was over there, I didn't realize that this free agency was going to pop up. Otherwise, I might have gotten one over there, especially Carnoustie, because I'm a big Carnoustie fan.
I do, yeah, good logo too.
Hey,
they have the internet these days. You could probably buy
that's very
a Carnoustie head cover if that's what you really want on your bag.
That might have to be the option. Maybe I'll dive into that.
You just look, and whatever makes you feel good.
That's true. I think you got to feel it.
It's got to be in the right mental space.
Yeah, you got to feel it in the moment. Do you have any anything else that you're kind of careful about what you choose in terms of your golf accessories, like ball markers, towels, anything like that?
So I have a bag that I use in that holds all of my tees and markers. Yeah. I find myself always going back to the same 2 tees.
Okay.
Or ball markers.
Ball markers.
Sorry. Tees, it's whatever I can break.
Usually
ball markers,
Aaron Hill's tees, because that's what I grabbed a handful last time I was out there.
I something about like the look of the clover on the green. I love the Aaron Hills, and of course back in Philly, that always gives me the sentimental of golfing with my dad and grandpa. That logo, Squires, is it's a top hat. It's a great logo. Those are the 2 that I always go to. I always have that in my pocket, and then it's whatever I grab out, and whatever I'm putting better with. That's what I kind of ride the rest of that day. That's the one you ride the rest of the day. I like that. So again, at GNightsel16, if you have any suggestions on how you, choose your head covers, because my 3-wood's a free agent. And if Z's looking for another gift for you,
I
actually have ball markers of my dog that came with the Cuddle Clones.
I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to probably.
It's like a little poker chip.
I'm gonna have to share your wife's number with my wife, and they can figure out great gifts for us.
It's good for golf outings. You throw down the poker chip, and it's just your dog. And everybody gets a good laugh out of that.
Gets everybody nice and relaxed before they got to step up and putt. Special edition of On the Tee, 2 hours starting at noon next Tuesday. This is Ben.